You know, a lot of our young brothers and sisters, they kind of cooked, and they cooked in a lot of ways. I remember when I went to the CES show in Las Vegas about the beginning of the year. And if you remember when I came back from that show, I was like, oh man, people are cooked. I kept saying that when I came back. And, you know I showed an 8-minute clip of it on our African Diaspora News channel, but if you're on the African Diaspora News channel app, you could see the full, almost 1 hour long video, right, of everything that we were looking at over there. And there's some things in there that shook my head when I was there. And that's when I kept preaching that sermon that, 3 to 5 years, people are cooked. Well, a lot of our young people is really going to suffer that bad, like for real. And the unfortunate part about a lot of this is that they were told to do the old model. But and this is why things aren't working. Let's go ahead and play this clip real quick of this young sister, and let's really get into this.
And y'all old people be lying, talking about, yeah, that's why you go to college. You get a job so you can get a degree. And people, you don't go to college, you're going to be flipping patties. Baby, I have 2 of them degrees and they won't even let me flip the patties. So now what?
Now, let's bring some balance. What the older people told her was the old way. At one point in time in this country, I remember the transition of it. That's the thing. In my generation, we got to see the transition of a lot of things, and we adapted to the transition. That's the only thing I will say about my generation. We was great at adapting to changes. At one point in time, that was the case. If you went to college, you got a degree, at minimum a bachelor's degree, you can get a good job, live a good life, get a home, get a couple of cars, take vacations, have a family, whatever, right? American dream was still intact. Then we transition over to this new age where degrees have to be extremely surgical in what you get. Having a degree don't mean nothing anymore, right? It's what you have the degree in now that makes it make sense for you to spend all that money and go into major debt, right? Now, today, young sisters like her and young brothers, they got to compete with AI. AI is wiping out a lot of jobs. Now, people can cry about it. What about, well, if people don't work, what about this? What about that? It's not listen, as a person who's seen major changes, every change, people lost jobs. When the cell phone came out and became, I'm going to say, readily available for the public, there were the yellow pages. The yellow pages was an actual phone book that they would deliver to your house. And the yellow pages would get money because businesses would pay to be in the yellow pages. And all that got cut off, right? With the cell phone. Nobody needed the yellow pages anymore because we could save our numbers and contacts in the phone. So what do we need the yellow pages for? We had Google on the phone. You know, before Maps or Google Maps or Apple Maps, you had MapQuest. You had all kind of things going on, right? When they switched over to the cell phone, people that worked the telephone switchboards lost their job. People that were the yellow pages lost their job. People that serviced payphones lost their job. Every technological switch, people lost jobs. Before Google came out, we had to go to the library. I remember that. After Google, people don't have to go to the library no more. So libraries are on a thing. They still got them, but they're on a thing. You look at the time with AI, right? Okay, now we have AI. Sure, a lot of people will lose their job with AI, but a lot of people are going to gain jobs too. Because with all those data centers coming up, guess what? The construction guy is going to keep a job. The electrician's going to keep a job, right? For sure. If you get something in AI, that's what I would do. I would tell some young people, hey, get you some certifications, get you a degree in AI, because AI is going to be where it's at. You have to adapt, young people. You got to adapt. You can't just say, oh, I got these degrees and I can't flip a burger. Okay, maybe you can't, but do some research. And today, you ain't really got to get degrees. You don't have to get a degree. I don't have a journalism degree. I don't. And look at me. Y'all younger people today have an opportunity I didn't even have at y'all age. And the wonderful thing, you can work for yourself. You don't have to go work for nobody. You live in a time period where you can turn on a microphone and make money. You can make music now and make money without a record label. You can write books on your own, publish your books on your own, and make money because everybody got a story. I tell anybody that if you got a story, write a book. If you got a lot to say, hey, you can start your podcast, whatever, and get monetized eventually. You know, some people may, you know, if you're good at talking or whatever, maybe you can be a speaker. You can do all kind of things you could do. Create your own business. And then pay and work for yourself. That's the opportunity that y'all have today that we didn't have. All that money you can make now, that wasn't going on back in that get a degree, get a job day. It was much harder to own a business back then that time. Now, man, you can create an LLC so quick and start a business. I'm telling y'all, that is the beauty of today. People that's all that war is, AI I'm not gonna have a job because of AI. Man, stay away from them people. You need to get around people and say, okay, this AI is here, man. What I need to do? How do I make money off of the AI boom? What skill set I need to get? That's all you need to focus on. Because what I'm looking at, these white folks and these Asians, they out here getting it. And when I went to CES, the first thing I said, where's all the black people? We need to be at these tech shows. We need to be learning. We need to be applying. The skilled trades, that's where it's at too with this AI situation. Skilled trades. AI cannot go underneath the sink and change a pipe. AI can't be an electrician. AI can't be a carpenter and go build some houses. AI can't do that. You're going to start getting into the skilled trades. Basically go back to working with your hands. That's just what it is. But I want our people, listen, we are people that always learn how to make $1 out of 15 cents. We are people that can make a way out of no way. That's been who we are. I'm thinking this is a good thing because it's going to set us back to that mindset where say, okay, well, shoot. Okay, well, my job gone, cool. I'm going to do something else. You know, every time I got fired from a job, the next job I got or the next situation I got was 10 times better. And I know it can be that way for y'all too. It could be so much a blessing. But the old way worked for people back then. That time is gone. And if somebody tell you, well, just get a degree, like, no, it's not just get a degree. If I'm not going to school for like nurse practitioner, doctor, lawyer, or some career that I'm going to make six figures when I get out, there's no reason for me to go to school. I'm keeping it 100. Have a degree for what if you can't make no money? If you can't get hired on, what's the point of having a degree? I tell any young person, if you go to college and get a degree, where when you get out, your entry level position going to be six figures. Or at minimum, 80, 90,000. Because you need the bag. But y'all gonna be all right, man. Y'all gonna be all right. Y'all gonna be all right, man. Y'all gonna figure it out. But it's a new day in America. That old way of getting a degree and getting a job, them days are gone. You know why you can't even go get a McDonald's job? Because they let so many immigrants in this country, they doing the McDonald's jobs. So you can't even get that, sister.